Hello and welcome to day one of the Aintree previews Barry Geraghty and Sporting Index. I'm very pleased to welcome back Barry after a great Cheltenham and an even greater weekend after Cheltenham for the Irish when they gave us an absolute cuffing in the rugby. Barry, how are you?
I'm very good, Chief. Thank you. Yeah, no, we had a good Cheltenham, obviously plenty of Irish success, and then obviously the form held up with the weekend's rugby too.
Yes, it certainly did. Well, hopefully we'll be getting a few more winners this week. Obviously, a lot less Irish raiders over, but there's still plenty of prizes for them to plunder even on day one. I'll just mention a couple of offers for new account holders. If you do open a new fixed odds account with Sporting Index, we're offering you a £25 free bet once you place £5, £5 bets. And we're also giving spread betting clients £50 of promo cash. You can lose more than £50. And don't forget that losses may exceed your deposit. And always bet responsibly and must be 18 to gamble. Right, Barry, I'm very excited about Aintree. It sets up what's really one of the great weekends of sport. Aintree in the Masters on Thursday. But we're here to talk about Aintree. Let's go straight into the 145, which is one of 4 grade ones in a row to kick this meeting off. I'll just talk you through who our favourites are and the like, if I can sort my computer out, which it doesn't want to be sorted out, but we'll get there. Here we go. First race here, we got Hitman as our 5-2 favourite. Fusil Raffles, 3-1. The Shunter for Emmett Mullins, who's come over to the UK 6 times this year, won 4 prizes. The Shunter is 7-2. Eldorado Allen, 13-2. Protectorat, 8-1. Umbrigado, 11-1. And Phoenix Way, 25-1. This is a race that has only been won by one favourite in the last 10 outings, and that favourite was ridden by Barry Geraghty. Do you remember what the name of the horse was?
I wouldn't have remembered it, Chief. Only we discussed it earlier. Captain Conan, yeah. But no, I'd have been guessing. I threw out Sprinter Sacre, but obviously was wide of the mark on that one. It's a tricky race, as I think it's a tricky meeting. Obviously, Cheltenham form and everything, and horses meeting at different distances and trips and whatnot. Hitman, who was a faller in Sandown before his last run in New Brewery, won. He was second to All Mankind, and that form hasn't worked out amazingly. For me, I think Fusil Raffles holds the strongest level of form. I wasn't surprised to see him run well at the festival on the drying ground. I think that's going to suit him as well. He was a very good hurdler. For me, he's the one they have to beat. Fusil Raffles, drying ground suits him. As I say, a strong level of form. The Shunter, he's crept up through the handicap. He got a £13 penalty for winning at the festival, which brings him on par with these horses. But it is another step up for him, but you couldn't ignore him, and he's a horse of interest and you'd have to respect. But I would be on those two, I think, against the favourite maybe. I think they've stronger form in the book.
Yes, and in terms of ground, it's important to mention at the moment it's good to soft, good in places. There is some light rain forecast, and you just never know the way the weather and the wind is at the moment, whether that will come or won't come at the moment. But I certainly know I wouldn't want to be out there riding at the moment. It is Baltic here, but I don't know what it's like in Ireland.
No, it's not as cold today, but it was cold yesterday. But I think the weekend is to improve and maybe get cold after that. But I'd imagine it'll be reasonable ground. So I'd be following horses who like better ground.
Perfect. And then we'll go on to the 220, the Doombar Anniversary 4-year-old juvenile hurdle, grade 1. This is the first race on ITV, and Sporting Index odds bet here. Montmirail is 10-11, Adagio 7-4, being very well backed today. 520, 12-1, John Locke 12-1, Paros 18-1, and Carlos Felix 66-1. It sort of seems like we priced it up as a 2-horse race, but you can never say that.
No, but they do. I think they're worthy to be top of the market and clear of the field. So they are the two to beat, and you'd like to think it's between them. For me, I think Adagio a stronger level of form with his run behind Calixios. He looks like a really progressive horse. That was his first run since the 9th of January. So he should come out of the race well. He was fresh going into it. He has been busy early in the season and had plenty of runs, but like that, plenty of experience. The Nichols horse, who won well in Haydock last time, but it's a good level of form. But I think the Triumph form is the strongest. And he's an individual who I have liked through the season. I think he's progressed. He stays well. And interested that you say there's a few quid for him, because he was the one I'd be on side with.
Yeah, there has honestly been a ton of money, and I can see it across the board throughout the industry for that today. So we'll move on to the Betway Bowl. Clan de Zobo, the 5-2 favourite here. Sir Alex would love to come and win in Liverpool again. Waiting patiently, 7-2. Tiger Roll, 5-1. Native River, 5-1. Clondor Castle, this is the one that's been backed today, 7-1. Mr. Fisher, 8-1. Real Steel, 16-1. ASO, 50-1. And Militarian, 150-1.
Yeah, well, Clan de Zobo got beaten last time by Secret Investor. I think that's left more questions than answers. He has been a little bit hit and miss this season. Waiting patiently, if you were to forgive him his run the last day and just put it down to the drop back to 2 mile, I know he was second in the Tingle Creek the year before, over 2 mile on heavy ground. So I just wonder, was the 2 mile in Ascot that day just a little bit sharp from him? But his run in the King George, that's the strongest level of form. He's the one for me, waiting patiently. Clan de Zobo, I just don't think you can rely on him. Of the others, Tiger Roll, switching to the mile make horse, I'm not so sure. He got to this rating of 167, which would be on a par with waiting patiently and others from obviously winning the national or 2 nationals. But he has never had shown this level of form on a park course. So I would be against Tiger Roll. I would be waiting patiently, and it would be hard to have complete faith in Clan de Zobo. Interesting that you say money for Clondalk Castle, so he's possibly worth having a look at each way.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of stats in this race, 4 of the last 5 favourites have won, and Tiger Roll hasn't won over plain or park fences since the 2017 National Hunt Chase at Cheltenham. Right, on to the 4th Grade 1 of the day, the Betway Aintree Hurdle. 2000 was the last time a 10-year-old won it, Mr. Moose for Nigel Twiston Davis, I think. What about Bouvetard, Barry?
He ran well in Haydock, but he needs to improve a lot from that to get involved here. You'd like to think he can run well, but it'd be hard to make a case for him. It's a strong race. It's a competitive race. Abracadabra, obviously, who fell early in the champion hurdle. To me, that's the best line of form through his second to Shishkin last year in the Supreme. He is a good horse. I think he's the one they have to beat. Jason the Militant, he's interesting. He's been very progressive. McFabulous, you would like until he got turned over last time in Fontwell. And Song for Someone, I thought, was a horse maybe for a little bit of each way value. I would forgive him his defeat against Goshen on heavy ground in Wincanton. I think he's better suited with better ground. The 2.5 suits him well. And I think he's a horse going well and maybe one for an each way play.
Silver Streak, interestingly, is the highest rated horse in the race. 163, I think. But
he was well beaten at the festival. It's hard to make a case for him, and there is a question mark about him getting 2.5. But I always felt that 2 mile in Cheltenham was fairly comparative to 2.5 at Aintree. I don't think there's a massive amount in it, but for me, I'd be going with Song for Someone who's coming here fresh, having avoided the festival.
Brilliant. So in terms of betting in the race, we are 7-2 Abracadabras, 7-2 Jason the Militant, McFabulous 9-2, Brewing Up a Storm 13-2, Song for Someone 17-2, 11-1 Bar. Okay, let's move on swiftly to the 405, which is good luck here. It's all type of race. The Fox Hunters.
Yeah, but sure, Bill Away, who was only touched off at the festival, had Stacker Wallace 13 lengths behind him. So he's probably the strongest level of form. I won't let on to be an expert in this department, but you'd have to go Bill Away. Patrick Mullins too. It's worth following your jockeys in a race like this. Patrick Mullins, very good rider, lots of experience. So he would be the obvious one to be on here. I thought that there was one other horse there of Will Biddocks has a chance? San Miguel, no, he probably wants further. No, yeah, no. I would stick with Billaway. Cat Tiger was one who's been progressive at a lower level, but no, I think Billaway has the strongest form. And if you're going to have a bet in this, he's the one.
Yeah, so Billaway is very solid 3-1 favourite, bit of money for that, and sort of looks like it's being nibbled around into 11-4 with others. We are 3-1. Cat Tiger is 5-1. Samitigal, who you mentioned, there's been plenty of money for that today, 11-2. Then Some Man, 8-1, and it's 9-1 bar. This is a race. So I guess you kind of got to look at jockeys as well, don't you?
Oh, definitely. And that's why I'd be all the stronger on Patrick Mullins in this, because he's proven himself at the top level.
Very good. Right, back to some graded racing, and we've got the 440 in the Close Brothers Red Rum Handicap Chase, which is a grade 3. I will just go through our betting here, Barry, first before letting you loose. This is just so open. We are Destrier 5-1. That's where all the money's gone today. On the Slopes 15-2. Getaway Trump 7-1. A little bit of a drifter today, that. Moon over Germany 15-2. Ferrero Bamboo 15-2. Zanza 10-1.
Yeah, Ferrero Bamboo was a horse I like, and he won well in Sandown last time. He went up £13 for that. He bolted up, so he did. But it was his first run on good to soft ground, having done all his racing on soft and heavy ground. He's had 2 wind operations as well, which would suggest that better ground is key to him. He is a 6-year-old and would be very progressive. Benisha's having a brilliant season. It looks to me a very open race, a lot of exposed horses. Getaway Trump is a horse who's disappointed me more than not, so I'd be slow with him. But I thought Ferrero Bamboo was very interesting. And a £13 penalty. They say the bigger the penalty, the bigger the certainty. So I think he could be a horse who's still well treated here. Of the others, Editoire de Guy or Guette, I'm not sure. Gary Moore's won well last time as well. Looks progressive. He'd have a chance, but I like Venetia's horse.
Very good. And then to the lucky last, hopefully we've got our satchels full by this stage. And it's the 5:15, it's the National Hunt flat race, the Goffs UK Nickel Coin Mares Standard Open National Hunt flat race, grade 2. Sadly, it's off ITV and back on Racing TV by this stage. And we are betting here, very short favourite in Eileen Dover 10-11, LA Bell 5-2, Me Too Please 12-1, and then it's 14-1 bar. This is actually a race that in recent times has been a bit of a graveyard for favourites. Only one in the last 10 years has won, and Alan King is the most successful trainer in this race with 3 wins, trained finest few this year.
Well, I'm all in on Eileen Dover, so I'm hoping that the favourites, that stat is overturned this year. She was very impressed with Market Raisin. And I think if she was from some of the fancier yards, she'd be a shorter price. So for me, she probably isn't bad value at 10-11.
Fair enough. Anything else you'd like that might come in the forecast?
It's tricky enough. As you mentioned, maybe Skelton's could be next best, but it's there's a lot of average form there. I think Eileen Dover's form is just very solid. She was very impressive in what is a good race, and that form has worked out well.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Barry. Will you be watching at home tomorrow, or what are you doing? Are you riding out, all that sort of stuff at the moment?
Yeah, I have a couple of youngsters here at home. I'll be riding them out in the morning, and I will be sitting back for the afternoon and tuning into the race, and I'll be enjoying it. Look forward to it. It
was about this time last year you retired, actually, wasn't it? You sort of announced your retirement.
Yeah, well, it was actually July. I sat until July. I couldn't throw a party until there was we were at a phase in the lockdown where we could have a few people around. So we got to the maximum 100 at an outdoor setting. So that's what we went for. But we didn't get that until July.
Jeez. There you go. And with Paul Townend, who picked you to the top jockey, did you invite him to your party?
I did, actually. Yeah, I did. He came. Yeah, so he's off at the minute. He's broken a bone in his foot, so he's struggling to get back to retain his champion jockey's title. Rachel Blackmore is 10 winners behind, and she's going to start chewing up on that lead shortly, I'm sure.
Well, I think she'll be a very popular winner, actually, after her riding exploits at Cheltenham. Is wonderful to see so much positive coverage about Cheltenham, and particularly about Rachel. It's good to see the sport in a good light, the sport we all love. Right, well, it just leaves me to say good luck to everyone who's having a bet at Aintree, and don't forget there's plenty of other sport coming up this weekend. You've got the US Masters, the IPL starts on Friday, you've got the European Rugby quarterfinals at the weekend, plenty of Premier League football, all going on. And wherever you are, I hope you enjoy it. Please remember to bet responsibly and that your losses may exceed your deposit. Thank you, Barry.
Cheers, Chief. Thank you.